Okay, welcome to video 6 and topic 6. The lack of a link between effort and result could become debilitating. Discuss how the residents of Anawati are shaped by their environment. Again, we've got a quote and we have the topic itself. I'm going to leave the quote for you this week. You have to figure out where that quote has come from, and you're going to talk about that in the comments. Discuss how the residents of Anawati are shaped by their environment. Okay. Now, we might be able to split this into two, actually. We might be able to have shaped and by their environment. So let's start with by their environment. So what is their environment? We have poverty. Both financial poverty, but also healthcare, living standards, etc. What else do we have in their environment? We have I would say we haven't really talked too much about gender, so I think it's important to bring this in sooner or later. Gender disparity. We have the traditional view that women shouldn't be educated because it makes them less complicit. We have cashed up marriages. And dowry, right? So, as I was saying in class, even if you are the least sexist person in the world, right? But you know that if you have a girl, you will have to pay a huge dowry. And if you have a boy, you will receive a huge dowry. Then you are more likely to want a boy, especially if you are living in extreme poverty. So we might kind of say, oh, well, they're really sexist, blah, blah, blah. But it's the structure of their society that helps them, that forces them into this. Even if they weren't raised that way and somehow rebutted, somehow bucked the trend of gender politics, the mere structure is kind of, going to force them into certain ways. And that's what we're going to talk about with shaped. But there's also the male side of things. They have to work, they have to look after the females, etc. But I mean, obviously that's less of a concern, but it is still there. Right. So we have gender disparity. We could also include in here, I'm not going to write it down, but there's also an issue of ability, disparity. People with disabilities, are seen to be worthless and, in fact, immoral. In fact, I'm going to write this down, but I'm going to write it down really small. Morality and disability. And, sure, we see this with Asha, but we also see this with Abdul's father. He is a sick man, right? He's sick. He's not well, and an environment that, due to this, has made him unwell. But he's seen to be, at least in the beginning of the text, he's described really harshly it's not. They're not very nice to him. He's this lazy guy who, he can't work, but he can mount his wife. Okay, no, he's sick, right? And we're looking down on him because he has a disability, right? He's somehow lazy and immoral because of his sickness, right? He is worth less than he would otherwise be because he can't earn a wage, and that worth. It comes to fore when the father is going to, in the first couple of lines of the text, the father is going to head off to jail as opposed to the son because Abdul's the one that earns the money, right? Okay, let's have a look at our favourite one, corruption. I've realised because I'm left-handed you can't read anything until I take my hand away. So the types of corruption we've talked about in spades, but there's political corruption. There is commercial corruption. And then there is like moral corruption. Yep. Okay. So we can probably talk about family in there somewhere as well. There's a number of different environments. This is a really rich question. You could do this in any number of different ways. So let's have a look at how they're shaped. In some ways, they are trapped, right? They are trapped by it. Okay, that corruption preferences the corrupt. That poverty leads to disability. Which leads to immorality. Yeah, that tradition leads to the oppression of gender. So if you're answering this question, I don't want you to just kind of list, these are the way, this is, the 1, 2, 3, 4 thing, features of their environment, blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, that's fine. But you need to be showing how they're shaped by this, right? If you're going to say, yeah, there's poverty, you're going to say, well, how are they shaped by that poverty? Well, poverty leads to disability, which leads to immorality. All right? They are inherently shaped by their poverty. Yeah? If you're going to say that traditional values and traditional marriage customs are leading to oppression, then you need to show that. You need to show that causal link. And if you're saying that corruption leads to people being corrupt, then you need to show how that works. Right? That's got to be your essay, not just a list of the features of their environment. Answer the question below, and remember, in this video you're also going to tell me where this quote has come from and a bit of background to it.